Hi, I'm Dr. Donna Galante, board certified orthodontist, been an orthodontist for 35 years. About a year ago, I took a position with a company called Aspen Dental. I'm their senior vice president of orthodontic support services. And so basically what that means is that I oversee about 1,200 plus general dentists who are doing clear aligner orthodontics. I have a great partner that kind of helps me with the thousands of cases that they are doing, and that is Clear TPS. For 2021 and beyond, I mean, just in general, clear aligners, clear aligner orthodontics, beautiful smile, straight teeth without braces is what people want. It's what patients want. And they want to have it in a way that is convenient, affordable, and in a timely fashion, right? They don't want to be in treatment for 2, 3, 4 years. And with the explosion of a lot of the direct-to-consumer types of clear aligners, that there's a huge demand. So it's really obvious that there's a demand out there, and for the DSO space, whether it be the general dentist or the orthodontist, it's really the future, I believe, of orthodontics, clear aligners. My husband and I became, Diamond plus providers of Invisalign, and got really, really good at providing clear aligners to every single patient. I mean, as young as 6 and as old as 86, right? And the demand is there for that total age group, by the way. I mean, little kids really don't want braces. They want to have clear aligners too. And the parents want them even more because it's definitely easier on their schedules, and easier on just managing their children with clear aligners versus having fixed appliances that require, hygiene checkups and quite honestly, a lot more oversight on the parents' part to watch what they eat. But with that being said, I think the clear aligner space has exploded. You have a lot of different options now. Invisalign probably was the first in the space and is the most well-known, and probably has, definitely has like 9 million plus patients that they've treated. So they definitely have the lion's share of that marketplace. But there's a lot of other options out there. There's a lot of different companies out there. A lot of doctors, friends of mine, are just actually setting up their own cases using different softwares and printing them in their offices and delivering them to the patient the same day. So there's so many options now that you can kind of tailor this space to whatever you want it to be, whether you want to do your own setups and your own printing and deliver same day aligners, or whether you want to go through a company who has the software, has the platform, has the manufacturing, and then have them shipped to your office. So it's really amazing what the options are now compared to just say even 10 years ago. So to me, the opportunity to jump in is there, and it just depends on how you want it to work for your practice, your offices, and for your patients. A lot of changes, I'd say, in the last 5 years, and then I would say, with last 12 months in particular, clear aligners became even more popular because patients started to realize that, I don't have to go in and see the doctor quite as often. When I have braces on, I have to be seen quite often, and there's a lot of emergencies. And now with clear aligners, they could be seen less. And if you add some other types of monitoring systems that are out there, you can even do all virtual appointments with your patients. So, I mean, there's just, it's really been a game changer for the orthodontic industry, but most of all for patients who have lots of options now as to how they want to obtain their new smile and how they want to go about getting that new smile. Let me go back to my private office. My husband and I had 3 offices. And early on, for some reason, I don't know how this happened, but I ended up being the one to do all the setups, all the clean checks, so to speak. So I was the one doing them all. And I guess we kind of made an agreement I would do them all. And if you have multiple locations, it ends up being a bit of work. So one of the compromises was I was doing the clin checks, but then he was actually in the office more than me, right? Because I would spend maybe, an hour a day, looking at the cases and setting them up and going through all the modifications. And that's just the reality. Okay. Like if you're a doctor doing a lot of clear aligners, whether you're using Invisalign software or another one, you're in front of a computer and you're looking at setups and you're managing them, modifying them, whatever you need to do. The one thing about at least, my role with Aspen is that it would be impossible for me to do all those cases. I mean, if I never slept or did anything else, right, I still couldn't do all the cases. The way they've structured it is that they don't really want their doctors to go home at night and do clin checks. They don't mind if they come home at night and open up a case and look at it just to make sure it was set up, to their preferences, or they got the right amount of space for that implant or whatever. But they wanted to have a system where the doctor just basically got an email and they said, hey, your case is ready to approve. And obviously, if they had questions, then there would be somebody like myself to reach out to that could walk them through what was going on, or in treatment if they were running into tracking issues. So it's, so Clear TPS is that partner, because it would take like a team of doctors, to have some, people sitting there day in and day out looking at, cases, digital treatment plans. And that's where TPS comes in, because the way the system's set up, they pretty much, do the final modifications based on protocols I've set in place, right, that we've worked through and ironed out in detail. And we calibrate on a weekly, biweekly, monthly basis as needed. And then the doctors are assured that the cases are being set up properly, and then they can go ahead and approve them. And it makes the system go much faster, right? So the doctors aren't waiting that long for a case to turn around. It's usually a couple of days, and they're ready to approve it and get the case shipped to their house. So Clear TPS has been a great partner for us at Aspen, and for anybody who would not want to spend, hours of their evening or hours of the weekend, looking at digital treatment plans, or spending even half an hour a day looking at these things. I mean, it just has been a great way to streamline that process and get back some time. The feedback I've gotten, and I think they like the fact that they know that it's a group of doctors that are actually doing the setups, so it's a group of dentists and orthodontists. It's not just a technician per se. So it's an actual, doctor who has a lot of experience in clear aligner orthodontics, in plastic mechanics, I call it, because plastic moves teeth differently than brackets and wires. And I think that just gives them a lot of comfort, because they know that it's a doctor who's actually touched this, and they understand that it's a doctor who has experience in that particular software or that particular treatment plan. And they also know that they're setting it up based on a certain standard that I've put in place and Clear TPS is following. So it's been really positive. I think that a lot of the setups, the way that we're doing it now, we're providing better, less attachments, less IPR, giving patients a little bit more wide arch width and arch expansion, which they do. The doctors are really thrilled about. They're really liking the setups. And I've just great positive feedback, cases coming back quickly. The turnaround time is days. And that just means that the patient is going to get their aligners faster too. So it makes everyone happy. It's a great way to systematize your process of managing the cases, because otherwise you have doctors that have different levels of knowledge about clear aligner orthodontics. They can come into the organization, and some of them may have a ton of knowledge, right? A ton. They know a lot about already. But the vast majority probably don't. And then they have to learn. And that learning curve can be rather steep. And they just may not have the time and or desire to actually do what it takes to kind of really understand how to move teeth with plastic versus brackets and wires. And most of the doctors, if they're a general dentist in particular, haven't had much ortho training. So the vast majority are going for the process with using Clear TPS. And because that's what I recommend they do, because it just saves them time, because otherwise they're going to have to go home at the end of the day and do it, or on the weekends. And, I think everyone knows you work pretty hard. You're kind of tired at the end of the day. You have family, you have kids, you got stuff going on in your life. So to me, it just makes sense, just to kind of outsource that process, and it'll be able to be systematized. You can set up a standardized protocol and give those doctors that option, who say, well, I know everything. I can do this. I know how to do it. I want to do it. But you'll have probably the vast majority that'll say, yeah, sign me up, because I really would rather have it pre-done, because I really don't understand exactly, what to do and how the setup should look.